Live from the Spill Studios, located behind a liquor store on the
Yes.
I-35 interchange, it's time once again. Couple
Yes.
of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle.
Live. Man, I'm actually having a cold one right now, courtesy of my buddy here, my friend. I got somebody who wants to say hi to you real quick. Sitting up here drinking this nasty ass. What is that? Cilantro beer? What the hell is it?
The motto.
Say
It's
hi.
hi. How are you doing, Corey?
Well, say hi to Carlisle too.
Hi, Carlisle. How are you
Uh,
doing? It's Edie.
oh, hey, Edie.
Edie says hi. She's up here getting. She got drunk and can't drive home, so I'm letting her sleep on my floor tonight while the cat's away.
Sure, on the floor.
Well, I put the cat out, so there's a spare space in the corner for her to curl up in. Yeah, in the Spill Studios. No, she came in from out of town, and she wanted to go out and just catch up with me and tell her what's going on with her. And we had a couple of drinks, and she didn't want to go home yet because she lives across town. And she said, "Hey, let me just stop in and just listen to you guys record and say hi to Carlisle." And yay. And plus, I said no. I said you really can't go. Then she said, "I'll bring a 6-pack." And I was like, "Baby, come on."
Free beer? You don't
Oh, yeah.
turn down free beer.
Mi casa is su casa, Edie. Whenever there's beer, yeah.
It's like, welcome, come on in.
Yeah, and in the Spill Studios, it's either gas, grass, or ass. Or 6-pack. Wait a minute, that's a car I'm describing. Never mind. Anyway, Carlisle, my man, how you been?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I've had a good weekend so far. It was a very busy couple of weeks I had, and after we finished a few things on the site, I was able to kind of relax a little bit. One of the things that I was worried about and busy with was that MacGruber trailer, which a lot of people think that
Gruber!
he's a fucking genius or whatever they say. That trailer that we put up, the Spill Band trailer, that I don't want people to think that came out of nowhere. That was actually requested by Universal, and they gave us a lot of ideas to do. That's what they wanted to do, and they wanted us to do some very specific things. And I'm not complaining about it. This is probably one of many, hopefully, ad campaigns that will come up, but that's all part of a MacGruber campaign, and they're going to feature it in the skin for the full ad campaign, which is going to be, I think, like a page buyout next week. But that's where that came from, and I was very happy with the reception because I was afraid that people were going to just be confused by it and become very hostile and turn against us. But that wasn't the case. They liked that, and hopefully they'll let us do a little bit more now that they see that it's had a good reception and let us kind of have a little more control over it.
Well, what happened to the initial plan that we did? To pull the curtain back a little bit, we recorded something else.
Yeah, that got scrapped. They wanted completely something different. It was before I kind of got into the mix. It was this back and forth going on, and I was just like, all right, you guys make up your mind, do what you want to do. And I finally just got on the phone and was like, okay, this is what we can do. This is what we can't do. What would you like? I'll work with you, and we'll be good. And they told us that this was something that they want to do. So that last idea got scrapped because of just, I don't know, miscommunication or something. I wasn't in those discussions. But when I came in, this is what they want to do, and I just said, okay, we can do that. We're fine with that.
Did you get to deal with Yorma at all?
Yorma? Who the hell
Yorma
is Yorma?
Taccone. He's the director.
No. I think they talked to them when they were doing the whole thing, but it was mostly what was it? It was a marketing company and I think one or two Universal people, but I don't think the director was involved. The closest we ever came to getting involved with anybody in the production is that Will Forte was supposed to actually do some voice work for us before the idea got scrapped that we were going to do originally. So
Right on.
yeah, so that's what it was, and I'm glad you liked the people. Hopefully we'll move on to some
Well, I
other
enjoyed
things.
it. I was like, wait, I remember recording stuff for this, and it's not here. But I know for a fact that this isn't the stuff that everyone else recorded either. So
No, it wasn't. It was, yeah, I wish I could tell people the idea that we had, but the idea that we had before is an idea that was pitched to them. It was one of those ideas where, okay, we got to give them 3 or 4 things. That was one of those things where it's like, man, we just got to give them something. What is that? What would be that other thing? And that was it. And they were like, oh, we like that. And I was like, oh, fuck, god damn it, that's what I didn't want to do. And I was really happy that they didn't, that they scrapped that idea before because I wasn't crazy about it myself.
right on, right on.
So,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I really like how it worked out. But people kept asking me questions. They're like, how did you do that? It's like, you know what? I don't know. Did you notice how I don't say anything in that? I just kind of show up raping a goat.
Yeah, what do you mean? How do we do that? People, we were on a set. We got a camera and recorded ourselves hanging out.
I just We were just raping goats.
Yeah, raping goats and talking about taking a shit with MacGruber. I mean, it was all good. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's still on the front page. The man shits and sinks. He was cool. He was like actually willing to do some stuff for us, and then I was like, man, please don't do that voice work because that is for the idea that we don't want to do. But yeah, the way we did it, people, was I'll tell you a little technical secret here. We showed up. That's all. It started rolling. What do you mean? How did we do that? You act like this is movie magic or something. Easy. We had a camera. We shot. And Will Forte was there and everything. It's no secret.
You know, I was really hoping we get to do something with Forte because I'm actually a big fan of his of some of his voice work.
What voice work has he done?
Well, my personal favorite. You remember Clone High?
Clone High, yeah, on MTV.
Yeah, he was Abe Lincoln.
Oh, did he do the voice of Abe Lincoln?
Yeah, he sure did. And if you guys have never watched Clone High was fucking genius. It was just a brilliantly conceived high school drama in which a mad scientist had cloned all of the great people in history, and now they were all teenagers, and they had to do something with them, so they put them in this top secret high school, and so they're all in high school together, and so it's Gandhi and JFK and Abe Lincoln all hanging out with people like Joan of Arc, who's the goth girl, and everybody falls into their great little cliques, and it's really funny. In fact, the funniest thing Tom Green ever did in his career is in an episode of Clone High.
Wait a minute, not funnier than Freddy Got Fingered. How dare you, sir?
Plastic Bag is much funnier than anything he did in Freddy Got Fingered, actually.
Actually, people, please don't take me seriously. I became enemies with Tom Green after Freddy Got Fingered.
You are such a liar. You love that movie so much.
Are you kidding?
Dude, you have showed that back-to-back with Soul Plane to so many people. You're like, you do not understand comic genius until you've watched these movies back-to-back.
Oh, I can't wait to put it on the marathon of classics that we have for, like, Disaster Movie and Meet the Spartans. Man, you're right. How could I forget? People, you got me. I love that movie. Love it. So,
actually, you know what? To be perfectly honest, though, that was worth it to see the PG, the 3-minute rated PG version of Freddy Got Fingered. Did you ever see that? He literally cut it down to where he could actually make it rated PG, and it was funny.
Well, as long as it was shorter, it's definitely much better. It was 3 minutes
long, yeah. It was
great. That's awesome. There is one scene I do love in that movie. If anybody asks me, is there a terrible movie that you really love, one scene that made the movie for you, it was Freddy Got Fingered, where, what's his name, who played his father, drunk-ass guy, just got... Rip Torn. Rip Torn plays his dad in the movie. Rip Torn is funny anyway, because I think Rip Torn is like drunk when he comes on set. But there was a scene where Tom Green, doing Tom Green shit that doesn't make sense, walks up to his dad in the shower, and the shower has one of those glass dividers that slides back and forth. So Tom Green is in the shower, and Rip Torn comes in. First of all, Rip Torn says, "What the hell are you doing in my scuba suit?" It's like, Rip Torn's a fucking scuba suit that fits Tom Green? That's weird itself. But then Tom Green starts doing like that stupid shit. He has soap on a rope. He's like, "Look, Dad, I've got the treasure. I've got the treasure." And Rip Torn did something that I wanted to see anybody do to Tom Green. He takes Tom Green and pulls his ass through that glass divider and just throws him across the bathroom. And I don't know if it's funny just because it's so weird and the physical comedy is just that funny, or I just want to see Tom Green get the shit beat out of him. But that is probably one of the funniest scenes I've seen in a movie, and it's in a movie that I despise. And Tom Green is one of those people I never understood. And in fact, I didn't even know he did a voice for that show, Clone High, which I think he'd be very well suited to do stuff for. Tom Green probably would do great voice work, but that dude, I'm glad his 15 minutes burned up quick.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And of course, I will hate him forever for marrying Drew Barrymore before I did.
Don't hate him. Hate Drew Barrymore. What the fuck was she thinking?
Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
Yeah, Tom Green would have done anything that any of us would have done. Yeah, she played his game. She came up to him. She chose him, and he just went with it. I can't blame him. Better take that shit while you can. Hey, that's one of the things I salute that brother for getting Drew Barrymore while he could. yeah, I mean, got to give it up for him. But man, I just want to let people know, if you like that trailer so much, we might be doing something similar for Jonah Hex, maybe. So look for that. We're gonna be doing something.
if you like it a lot, pimp the hell out of it. Put it on your blogs, pass it around, tell people to watch it, get the numbers up on it, because if it's a success, then they'll let us do more.
There you go. See, that's the deal. People say we want to see more. We got paid for that. That's not something we just did. We got paid for that. So please, my man Carlisle is right. Support us, support it. If you like that kind of stuff, let everybody know by spreading it out there, and that's good for Universal to see. But you know what else is good? I know you know.
I know. What else is good?
The top 5.
Brought to you by Spin.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tingling already. This top 5 is so juicy this week. Just chock full of surprises.
Is
Not
it
really.
juicy?
No, not really. No, not juicy. Not juicy enough. It's not really all that exciting. It's not all that great. It's just kind of filling in space with stuff that came out and people saw it because they had no other choices or anything else to see. So you want to start with number 5?
The number 5 film.
Now, ooh, look at that. Put a little bit of that Dracula at the end of it. Blah. Number 5. Blah, blah. Now,
the number 5 film, which sucks. Sir, you like the bad jokes, you see.
no, it didn't suck, but if number 5 is exactly what I'm talking about. Number 5 is a movie that's been in there for weeks. I think it was number 3 last week, but it's finally dropped down to number 5. Still in the number 5 and going strong is How to Train Your Dragon. Again, movie that everybody has seen. We can't really tell you anything different about it. We've been talking about it for weeks. It's just hanging in there. People loving the movie. I don't even want to tell you anything about it except that it brought in $5.1 million this weekend, bringing its total up to, finally past the $200 million mark, which is $207.8 million. So good for that movie. The movie cost $165 million to make. So DreamWorks is very happy with this film right now.
Number 4.
See, that's why. Look at that. You just said, yeah, ain't nothing else to say. We're just going to move on real quick to number 4. Number 4 is a film that debuted this weekend. The beautiful Queen Latifah and my man Common in Just Right. A black romantic comedy. What you laughing about, Edie? Black people can't make romantic comedies? None of that jive ass shit. No, this was actually, I heard this is actually a cute film, and it did okay this weekend. It brought in $8.5 million. Not great, not a great debut, but for probably the budget.
That's definitely not Tyler money.
No, hell no. You talk about a black person that's making crazy ass money, Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's name had been on this. They would have made like $80 billion, but unfortunately it was not.
Like 25, 30.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Tyler Perry always comes out with movies that cost about $5 to make, and he ends up making like $20 million for them. But this one, no Tyler Perry involved, so it just brought in a very, very modest, not even all that impressive, but modest $8.5 million this weekend. I don't know what the budget on this is, so I can't really tell you how good that is for the film.
Yeah, I didn't see this. I ended up missing the screening.
Yeah, I missed it too by accident. I was going to go check it out, but I hear like it's okay. I mean, it's just like a lot of other romantic comedies that are coming out right now, which are very heavy on the romance and not as heavy on the comedy. Not like that movie, The Backup Plan, which relied on a lot of gross out humor. This is actually, it falls into that cute category. So, which there is another movie like that which came right above this.
At number 3.
Look at that, me and Carlisle at candlelight at a table. The right
baby.
lighting while he sings us into number 3, which is Letters to Juliet. That brought in a little bit more money, $13.8 million. In fact, a lot better than Just Right. See people like you, Edie, they like the romantic comedies with white people. That's why they make more money. Letters to Juliet was a movie that we actually put up a review for last week because I thought it came out last week. Didn't mean to put up an early review for it. And I find this odd. Tell me what you think about this. And I'm not even making a joke here. A lot of times they bring out a romantic comedy to go up against the big blockbuster special effects film or the action film or the horror film. This weekend we had 2 romantic comedies come out on the same weekend. The only thing that I can think of that really makes them counter-programming to each other is that one appeals to a white audience and one appeals to a black audience. Do you think that's the case?
Well, I think they might have tried to squeeze Just Right in there for that reason. But they were both counter-programmed against a film that I assume is higher up the chart.
It is.
It has to be.
Yes.
And I think that's what that's there for. I don't think they deliberately chose to go against each other.
I just find that odd. I would think like a studio would say, there's already one romantic comedy coming out this weekend. I don't think it's wise to release another.
Well, what probably happened was Summit started first with Letters to Juliet, and then whichever company, I don't have it in front of me, released Just Right, probably went and said, you know what? The black audience isn't going to go see a little white girl run around Italy, so with an old white lady. So you know what? We're not going to get any white audiences in to see a Queen Latifah and Common movie. So we're really not cannibalizing anyone's audience whatsoever. So let's go ahead and put it in there.
Yeah, I know some brothers would love to see a little white girl run around anywhere. So don't count them out.
I know one.
Who? Leon? No, Leon ain't like that, man. Come on.
No, Leon ain't like that.
I don't know who else you could be speaking about.
You know what? I don't know either.
But
let's face it, when it comes to little white girls, both of us would tap this.
Yeah, are you crazy? Hell yeah, I'll follow that.
So
shit
what
to
you guys
Europe.
think of this movie? I'm pretty sure you guys just hated it, right?
No, I actually liked the movie. I liked it better than everybody else, even though we all gave it a rental. We all gave it a rental for a different reason, though. The viewpoint on this was split among all of it. No, actually, it wasn't split among all of us. It was split between me and the rest of the guys. Like, these guys went into the movie ready to hate the chick in this film, who was played by
Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried. And they would like ready to just say, oh, this girl is whiny. She's just complaining to her boyfriend while they're trying to have this great vacation, and she's just a bitch. I think Cyrus even went as far as to say she's a cunt. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man, come on. And really, I think you and I would agree, Carlisle. If you saw, did you see the movie?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was there
all
with
right.
you guys.
Now, that's right. Now tell me what you think about this. I thought she was perfectly fine. I thought her boyfriend, who was played by what is his name? Gael Garcia Bernal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that he just didn't listen to her. He wouldn't let her talk whenever she tried to come in and just simply. She was very patient with him. She's like, I'm going to let him do what he wants to do. But when she would just simply try to come in and just say, hey, let me tell you how my day went, he could not stop talking about fucking food. And I was like, how can you guys like be so upset at him for like being just a bad boyfriend? And they were like, what are you, some kind of faggot? And I was like, whatever, man. I mean,
you know what? I'm between that. The main problem that I have with this film rests on that relationship, actually, which is the fact that we're supposed to feel bad for her because her boyfriend doesn't pay as much attention to her and is obsessed with food and is very much into his thing. But at the same time, she is equally disinterested in him. And that's what really bugs me about their relationship is she's upset that they go to Italy together and they're going to get married, and she knows he's a foodie and he's a guy starting up a restaurant.
A foodie.
That's what they're called. They're called foodies.
I mean, when you say foodie, it makes me think that he literally fucks food. He doesn't just like to eat it. He likes to stick his dick in food.
They're called foodies. They're people who are just like in love with food. And you go to Italy with a foodie, and his idea of a good time is going around to, centuries old wineries and places that make special kind of cheese that this is the only place in the world you can get it. And, all these wonderful Italian bakeries. And then he gets to the point where he's like, hey, we're going to drive 120 kilometers to go sample truffles. And she's like, I don't want to drive 120 kilometers to taste mushrooms. He's like, no, not mushrooms, truffles. And she's like, look, I want to go back. And she starts talking about wanting to go to the opera and wanting to go to tourist traps and wanting to do all the touristy things there. And he wants to go and experience the real Italy. And she's just as disinterested in him as he is her.
But you know what? Here's what I thought. I thought she went along with it to make him happy for a little bit, and he just did not want to do anything that she wanted to do at all.
But the thing is every scene she's rolling her eyes. Like he's like, oh my God, look at this cheese, and she's just like, oh, this is so fucking boring. No, I mean she literally came across bad. And that's part of the problem I have with this film is that I can't feel bad for her being in that situation. But by the same time, I can't hate her either. I think Cyrus was digging a little too deep, emotionally speaking, to go that far. To call this character a cunt is really kind of adding your own hatred on there.
Yeah, I was just like, man, maybe that's why I defended her so much, because if you listen to the review, by the end of it, I did say, all right, you know what? Because I missed like the first 5 minutes of the film, but I thought like, well, where he was like setting up his restaurant, and I was like, okay, he actually really is under pressure to get this thing going. I finally said, you know what? In all fairness, they just aren't made for each other.
No, and they weren't, and that's fine. But the just how they present it and the way it comes up is just really, you don't have any sympathy for her character. And in fact, the thing that I like portions of this film, but everything I like about this film is Vanessa Redgrave and Franco Nero. Because I think everything with them is awesome. And I think everything with Vanessa Redgrave is incredible. The film just doesn't have any life until she shows up. And the minute she shows up, all of a sudden the movie just comes alive.
Well, that her grandson, that kid, man, I thought he just was boring. I mean, I was like,
well, he wasn't just boring. He was bad. The first scene he walks into the movie, he thinks he's Cary Grant, and he just starts insulting Amanda Seyfried. And we're supposed to – that's how you know that he's the romantic lead. It's like, oh, a character just walked on and just started insulting our protagonist. Clearly, this is the guy who we're supposed to hate at first but grow to love, but we never grow to love it.
I know. It's like he comes in and is like, fuck you, bitch. And then she's like, I love you. And it's like there was no development between them at all.
It's not even like that. They literally hate each other, and they never give us that moment that we're supposed to where we see her through his eyes and see where he changes and goes, oh, wait, there's something to this girl I've been insulting the whole time. Yeah. But that's exactly what you'd expect. I mean, this is the director who directed Bride Wars.
Yeah, I know. I reminded Cyrus of that.
Yeah, he does not understand how to tell a romantic comedy properly. And what's really great about this is it's a perfect example of how you do a romantic comedy right and how you do it wrong in the same film. Because we're watching this really boring, poorly done romantic comedy between Amanda Seyfried and the Heath Ledger clone that's in this film. Yeah, poorly cloned Heath Ledger. He's a few generations removed, and everything with them just it's artificial and it doesn't work, and the relationships are all wrong. And then you've got two incredible, legendary actors. You've got Vanessa Redgrave playing the 65-year-old woman whose letter gets discovered, and then her real life husband Franco Nero, who plays the guy that she's been searching for. And every moment that they're on, I mean, there is one of the most cliched scenes I have ever seen in a film. I mean, they hit the guy rides up on a fucking white horse.
That kind of bugged me.
White horse. And yet they make it work, because the minute they make eye contact and he says her name, everyone in the audience started tearing up, because the looks between these actors, it's just nothing but pure emotion. And these two people so clearly love each other, and they have that, it transcends the film, and it's just like, oh my God, there's no reason I should love this, and yet I'm madly, passionately in love with this moment.
Well, their relationship was great. I just felt like when he rode up on that horse, I just heard the trumpets blaring, and somebody was like, yeah, Trojan old man, you know. I was like, man, come on, you got to be kidding me.
Fuck you, that's Franco Nero. If there's any guy virile enough to show up and fuck the shit out of Vanessa Redgrave, it's Franco fucking. I mean,
he might as well should have like not had a shirt on. she whips her dress off her old ass body, and then he just jumps on that vineyard, and they just go at it. I mean,
dude, that guy's a badass. You know what? Props to Franco Nero, man.
Damn, you sound like if he rides up on a white horse, he could fuck you.
I'd consider it.
I love your honesty, though, man. That's cool. No, well, I'm glad that I just want to hear your opinion on the movie, because I didn't get it, and that's great to hear. So what would you give it, a rental?
I give it a rental as well, and I think a high rental. I mean, it's something that I think anyone who wants to understand romantic comedies, this is kind of a masterclass in it, because you really do get to see the moments that really work and then the moments that really fail, and it really all is in the chemistry of the actors and how those moments are treated.
Yeah, it's just how can you fuck up in a romantic comedy where you forget to let the guy show that charm while she's gonna fall in love with him, and
That's how you fuck up a romantic comedy.
Yeah, you don't show it, and we don't get to see them have that one conversation or that one romantic night where they actually connect. I mean, Jesus Christ, did somebody cut that out? I just don't know how you fuck up like that. But anyway, whatever. It was a cute movie.
So yeah, it's worth checking out eventually, if only for the fact that Vanessa Redgrave and Franco Nero are awesome in it, and I'm just endlessly amused by Bernal, and could he throw in more likes and and
well, come on, for English is not his first language, so maybe that's all he really knows. So anyway, man,
but but let's move on to number 2.
I'm interested to see what you think about this. It is Russell Crowe's Robin Hood, directed by Ridley Scott. A different take on Robin Hood, which they don't tell you in the title. It's actually Robin Hood before the legendary mythical Robin Hood that we know. It's kind of. Yeah, kind of. It leads up to him being the outlaw that he's known for. But the movie brought in a very strong $37.1 million this weekend. The movie cost, I didn't know it cost as much.
$200 million.
$200 million, man.
$37 million is not strong for this film. In fact, it's exactly what they were. It was the target that we heard a week ago that they were thinking it was going to be about $37 million, and everyone was worried about that because that's really shitty for a $200 million film. Yeah. But this film's a clusterfuck. I mean,
thank you.
Well, I mean,
go ahead and tell us about the movie because we gave our review. What'd you think about this?
Well, the thing is first of all, it's the perfect example of studio meddling. When Russell Crowe came aboard and when Ridley Scott signed on to do this film,
film was the Nottingham story.
It was called Nottingham, and it was a CSI-like story told from the point of view of the sheriff of Nottingham, who is investigating these murders and disappearances throughout Sherwood Forest of various men working for him and people who are shuttling money back and forth for the kingdom. And all of these murders are being blamed on this mythical Robin Hood. And it is telling a unique story from a new point of view because we've seen the story of Robin Hood a billion times already. And they got deep into this. Everybody was ready to go with this. And the studio suits just sat there and said, we don't get it. Why can't it just be a movie about Robin Hood? And they said, because we've already seen the Robin Hood movie. Oh, yeah, but people want to see Robin Hood. I mean, let's make Robin Hood Russell Crowe. We've got Russell Crowe. It's Robin Hood. Let's make it about Robin Hood. And the studio won. And so what Ridley Scott tried to do was do an interesting take on it, and so he wanted to do a prequel of sorts, which takes us up to the point to where we see the story we know. But there's so many problems here. First and foremost, the end battle scene is just one of the worst, most ill-conceived things. Once you see it, you'll understand what's wrong with it. It's the perfect example of what Ridley Scott tends to do. There are people show up, and there's no explanation for why they show up, and you know that since it's a Ridley Scott film that you'll find out in the director's cut. But I don't know if the director's cut will forgive the sins that they commit at the end of this movie.
I thought for a Ridley Scott movie, the action sequences and the battle scenes were terrible.
Well, and here's why, is Ridley Scott makes rated R battle scenes. Every film we've seen that with an awesome battle scene that he's done is rated R. This is PG-13. This is shot and edited the same way as his films usually are, but without the blood and gore that punctuates those scenes that makes us flinch. He knows how to show an exploding head for half a second, and the whole audience goes, oh! And he can't make the head explode.
Well, even then, maybe the gores will make us not notice the technical aspects of what's wrong, at least in this particular film, what's wrong with these action scenes, because we always complain, like, just pull out for the action. Don't go in too close and don't make them too fast. I mean, let's edit it well to where it moves at a good pace, but if you do these split cuts and it's very close, it just, as you say, it feels like a clusterfuck.
Well, yeah, and this is shot exactly the same way Gladiator was, and exactly the same way Kingdom of Heaven was.
I never saw Kingdom of Heaven.
45-degree shutter.
Yeah, and I didn't. Yeah, exactly. That strobe, and I know you say the edit, the the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is great. I've never seen either one, and I hate it. I didn't hate. I'm not.
It's
hate is a
like
very
$10
word.
on Blu-ray, dude.
I'll check it out. I'll check
Drop
it
the
out.
coin, and you will love the shit out of that.
Hopefully, it'll come on Netflix, and I'll watch that. And I wasn't crazy about Gladiator. I'm one of those few people that said Gladiator's okay. I just was not crazy about it at all.
Well, this is Kingdom of Heaven's a much better film than Gladiator.
Good.
I
I
mean,
even
it's-
saw Gladiator the other night on TV, and I was just like, I'm still not liking it.
Now I'm talking about the director's cut, people. So don't, if you're like, I saw that in the theater, it wasn't very good, or I ran. No, the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is awesome. But this Robin Hood, it's so bad. And the thing that really makes me angry, here's what really makes me angry, is we get to the end of the film, and the end of the film's like, hey, look, this is the Robin Hood story you all know, and we've completely set that up. And hey, look, it's Robin Hood, and you know the rest of the story, except in the opening scenes of this movie, King Richard the Lionheart dies. Now, in the Robin Hood stories, we all know what happens at the end of them. King
Well,
Richard
he
the
returns.
Lionheart shows up
Yeah.
and kicks out King John, and everyone's happy and rejoices. How the fuck is this supposed to end?
Well, I thought that was one of the cool things that they actually did in the movie is that King Richard actually ended up being kind of a prick. And I was like, and then they killed him off, and I was like, well, that's cool because I didn't like this guy, this version of King
Sure.
Richard that they have, and I was like, if they're trying to do something different, I don't mind them like trying to tell like, oh, okay, here's what the true characters were like. King Richard is not this noble king that we thought he was. He's actually kind of an asshole. And I was like, all right, get rid of his ass then.
Yeah, and historically speaking, Prince John signed the Magna Carta.
And
it's
there were
kinda
moments in
one
the
of
movie-
most important documents in history.
And there were moments in the movie where you saw Prince John, or King John as he is in the movie, and you thought like, all right, he becomes like the well, in this movie he's king. We see him being the bad ruler that we know him as in the original Robin Hood, but throughout most of the movie he's actually kind of he seems to come to some sort of resolve with himself, like, oh, I better try to do the right thing, and then he goes bad again. But I thought those were kind of interesting things that they tried to do with the movie. It's just the movie bored me to death, and the reason why I want to get your opinion on it is because people jumped our shit, man, for giving this movie a bad review.
Well, and that's because they were like, it's Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Fuck you guys, you don't get it.
Thank you.
And now they're going to find out. They're going to go themselves because everyone's thinking, oh, hey, the critics are all bashing it. They're all wrong. They can't be right. And it's, you know what? It's kind of hard. I mean, I see why people jump your shit because I'm sure in the review you mentioned that you don't like Gladiator.
No, I didn't say anything about that.
'Cause-
People were like really upset because we were saying it's boring, and people who hadn't seen the movie were like, well, you're showing nothing but action. How can this be boring? I'm like, yeah, I'm showing you action from the same fucking scene. I mean,
It's really boring.
Man,
And
I hated that movie.
So did I. I mean, it made me angry. The thing is there were some really great moments. Everything with Robin Hood and his merry men is awesome. I mean, it's written by Brian Helgeland. Helgeland knows how to write guy stuff really well. All of these guy scenes are incredible. I loved the take of how they did the musician. Because the scenes where he's playing his music, you definitely get this very rock star vibe out of it, and it really kind of nails why these people would listen and get down and really enjoy this kind of music. And there's just some really great stuff there, but there's so many boring scenes. There's so much extraneous stuff, and it's just kind of mediocre.
I like the way you say "get down." Robin Hood's getting down.
Dude,
that motherfucker's jamming.
Well, you joke, but that scene is pretty fucking great. You know which one I'm talking about.
I know. I wasn't even crazy about that scene. I thought that was one. But I tell you what, I do agree with you with the Merry Man, because there's a guy who I like, man. He's a character actor, and this guy gets better and better every time I see him. It's that big motherfucker named Kevin Durand.
Oh yeah, playing Little John.
Little John, and people,
most of you folks out there might know him from Lost. Where
that's right.
Yeah, he played one of the mercenaries, and then he just came back this season as a crime boss who ends up involved in a couple of the alternate universe plot lines. And I adore him. I think he's a great villain. I think he's a great character actor, and God, is he fucking cool here. I think Scott Grimes is great as Will Scarlet. I thought that was kind of cool. It's like, wow, this guy hasn't been fucking cool since Critters in the 1980s.
Damn, you took us back.
When I see Scott Grimes, that's what I think of. I think of Critters, yo. Critters was the poor man's Gremlins.
It was.
It starred Scott Grimes, and he was like a poster. He was a pinup boy. during the late 80s, in the same era that Johnny Depp was one of the pinup boys and the New Kids on the Block. And I was mostly familiar with him from both Critters and the fact that my little sister had pictures of him all over her wall.
But she had pictures of Critters too all over her wall. So
no, she didn't. That was me.
You know what, they say that Critters was actually, they argue, now you know how people try to defend themselves, I don't know if it's true or not, but they argue that Critters was a coincidence. They said that script was made and was going into production at the same time that Gremlins was. Who knows?
Sure, it was.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, right? Sure, you fucking lying critter is what you are. But yeah, damn, you went back. That dude was in Critters too, also.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you remember that? What was the name of that one? Critters was something like the Last Supper or something. What was it? It was the Critters 2. It was the main course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one wasn't very good. Yeah. Like the first Critters is actually fun. In fact, oddly enough, Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. It's one of those movies that
everybody says Roger Ebert is losing touch. I've always thought Roger Ebert.
No, he's always been weird.
I admire him. I like, he's one of the guys I truly do admire, at least from a writing standpoint. But I've never agreed with Roger Ebert, hardly ever. He's been my nemesis.
He's the perfect example of the long-standing concept that longevity breeds respect in this career. Like, if you're new, nobody gives a shit. But if you've been around 40 years, it doesn't matter if we've been calling you a stupid fat fuck for 40 years. You are now the venerated guy who gave us all jobs. So no, he's always been in his own little world, and that's just Roger Ebert.
Yeah. But I want to fight Roger Ebert until he lost his jaw. That's how much I disagree with him. Now I feel bad, but
well, now he's got a glass jaw.
Oh, see, I thought I was bad, man. You know better. You hear this boy? He said now he's got a glass jaw.
Oh, you know what? Roger still has his sense of humor. So,
he does. He still. You ever see somebody smile with no bottom jaw? He does it. He still does it. I mean, I'm not even making a joke. You can tell that motherfucker's grinning from ear to ear and doesn't even have a bottom jaw to do it with. He's still happy. I got to give him that.
Yeah. So getting back to Robin Hood, so like that stuff all works. I think all the Merry Men stuff works,
Mm-hmm.
but I think one of the main problems is that Helgeland, he stole from himself. I mean, the story they tell here, this version of Robin Hood, is just a Knight's Tale.
Yeah, I like A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger.
I like A Knight's Tale a lot. I dig the shit out of that film. So I knew every single beat that they stole from A Knight's Tale, and it's a lot. I mean, this version of Robin Hood is, hey, let's take A Knight's Tale and gritty it up. Let's take out the rock music and make it a grittier version of that story. And that was a bad idea. Yeah. And all in all, this movie's just lifeless. It's dull, and it
lacks any sense of adventure, which is at all. Which
Absolutely.
is whether you're telling a different tale of Robin Hood or the old story of Robin Hood. There's one thing we want to see, and it's that sense of adventure. And this is the biggest crime for this fucking film, and I hate this film so much.
Okay, so let's skip past this film and get to I am number one.
Iron Man 2 this week brought in a very, very, very impressive $53 million, bringing its total up to $212.2 million. The movie cost $200 million to make. I was not as crazy about the movie as you were. I thought it was good, but I thought it had a lot of problems. But I tell you what, I am happy to see this movie do well because I'm still excited for this Avengers movie, man.
Right on.
I didn't like all the things that they shoved into this movie, alluding to the Avengers, but I'm like, man, I'm still glad they're moving towards it. I'm looking very much to it.
Dude, I loved the hell out of this film. This was a really fun Iron Man film. I mean, come on, tell me you at least loved the scene between Nick Fury and a drunken Iron Man. In the coffee shop?
I liked them. I felt like they were kind of out of place, and I felt like Sam Jackson was like not really. I felt like he was. Co-host said he was phoning it in. I won't go as far as say he was phoning it in, but it just felt like, all right, this doesn't really make sense. They could have done something so much better. There's a lot of things that they could have done a lot better with those scenes. Either take them out and make the movie shorter, or really make those Avengers scenes where they want to hint towards that Avengers movie, make them a lot cooler. Like, yeah, they showed us a shield, cool, all right. Nick Fury's in having a conversation. I did like it. I did not dislike it as much as the other guys did. I did like those scenes, but I tell you what I did like.
Wait, they
the action
disliked it?
No, they liked it about as much as I did. We all gave it a matinee.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
yeah, man. We thought the first one did it right, and this one we followed the.
You guys are sold out.
Man, no, we felt like this. We felt this movie sold out. It felt like a sequel where it was too long and they didn't know what to do with it. But it did some things better too. I mean, where the first movie didn't give us a good climax, Iron Man 2 made up for that. But they didn't use the villain that well. I thought what's his name was great as Whiplash. Geez, why can't I remember this guy's name? I know this guy's name all the time. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, help me out. Don't leave me hanging.
No, I don't know who you're talking about
Yeah,
at all.
you do know.
You're gonna have to stretch a little
You just
further.
mad because I don't like what you did. Come on, what's his name? Edie, what's his name? No, not Robert Downey Jr. Goddamn, the guy that played. Oh, fucking no fucking help at all. Jesus Christ.
Come on, it's right there on the tip of your tongue.
It is on the fucking tip of my tongue, and I'm mad at you for like leaving me up here hanging like this, man. Mickey Rourke, yes.
There
Mickey
it
Rourke.
is.
I thought Mickey Rourke was so good in this movie, and I thought that
What?
they did nothing with him except he had a very strong intro, and then they put him in a fucking lab for most of the movie.
My one complaint about the film and my one complaint about Favreau as a director was that he loves his villains so much he's afraid to let them be truly dastardly, and he didn't give us that moment that we needed to see Ivan Vanko do something like really fucking mean.
Yeah, and that's because he was scary, man.
He was scary, but we needed to feel the menace so that once we got to that ending, it was much more satisfying when he gets defeated. But personally, I think he also went down like a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was when he finally got there, he's like, oh, I'm here now. Oh, my ass is kicked. And that's the only problem I have with this movie is that it just he doesn't do with the villain what I think he should do. But aside from that, I thought everything else was great. I just loved the shit out of this film. It was so much fun.
Well, did you ever, I know you when you love something, you see that shit about 20 times in a row. Now, did you watch it where they had the ending at the end of the credits?
No, I haven't seen that yet, actually.
I won't say anything. I was curious to see what you thought about that.
I've seen descriptions of it online, so
that is one of the biggest things that upset me. Now, for people who, I'm gonna just spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it. People, go ahead and leave and come back in about, we have a tendency to go on about this. Come back in 2 minutes, but and go 1, 2 now. Okay, for all of you who have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. At the end of the movie, they show Thor's hammer in a ditch, and it looks like a toy hammer. It looks like a Fisher-Price hammer in a ditch. Now, when it was coming up, they were in New Mexico, and I thought like, oh shit, it's gonna be a scene where it's the Hulk, and maybe they'll introduce, because I heard that maybe the Thor would be at the end, so I thought like, oh shit, because I heard like a boom, and I thought like Hulk was about to go against Thor, and Shield was there to see it, and they're like, okay, it's going down, and instead it's just a big fucking pit with a toy hammer in the middle. I was so pissed about that when I saw that. I was like, I waited for this.
well, I mean, Thor is the next film.
I know. I mean, know that.
It's just the connection. I personally have gotten to the point that I fucking hate scenes at the end of credits.
I do too. Now I do.
To this day, there's only one of them that I think is truly worthy. That has truly lasted stood the test of time.
Which one?
And belongs at the end. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah, of course. That's a classic one.
Where Ferris Bueller walks out, he's like, "What? You're still here? Go home. Get out of here. Go home." And that is a great punctuation mark at the end of the credits. Whereas it's like, really, do we really need something announcing a film that in a year will be out? And it's like, oh, hey, look, I'm going to watch the end of the movie so I can watch this scene that will tell me about this film that I saw years ago.
Well, you hit it right there, my man. That's what I'm talking about. I don't mind them advertising the next movie. I mean, but just do more than give us just like a quick visual. Do something cool with it. Make it like an event type thing. Like I said, if we saw the Hulk and then we saw him getting ready to fight somebody, but we didn't know who it was, and then all of a sudden you saw the hammer come into the scene, or maybe the boot step in, and that would make people be like, oh fuck yeah, man, it's on. But instead, it's like,
Well, yeah,
what?
but it would also
Fucking-
make people go, "Oh man, that's the biggest tease I've ever seen in my life."
yeah.
You know, it's like your girl like whipping her top off for half a second, then putting it back on and go, "Oh yeah, by the way, we ain't doing anything tonight."
No, see, to me, a scene like
like,
that
oh,
would
that
be
ain't
like. Now, to me, I like that analogy right there. Now you're talking. When you're talking about naked women, now we're talking. That would be like.
Yeah, see,
that-
now I'm speaking your
yeah,
language.
now you go.
Now
Then-
imagine a topless Amanda Seyfried for a second. And now we're totally talking your language.
Yes, yeah. Now I'm thinking like I understand what you're saying, but what I'm thinking here is like it's like a girl who's telling you we're about to have sex, and you can say anywhere from like she's pulling her top off to where she's about to let you put it in, and then she's like, "Oh, hold on, we can't do this just yet." And then you think like, "Fuck, man, that's the biggest fucking tease," and then she walks out, but then she comes back with something really hot. And then you're like, and then she's like, "I'm about to fuck the shit out of you." And you're like, "Oh yeah, now it's on." And see, that's what it seemed like that would have been to me. Like she gets you like more frustrated and hard, and you're just kind of like, "Man, I got to do something with this." She comes back in and says, "I'm gonna finish the job."
I guess it's kind of like putting the tip in and then having her actually only let you put the tip in. I mean, it's, you know.
But they're gonna bring the Avengers movie, so that's like full sex. No, girl, I ain't finished drinking.
Well,
Man. You trying to get me drunk? No, I hope. Yeah, I hope. I don't know.
I think at this point there's only one person on the Spill crew that's super excited about
Cyrus.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, they got the best director in history to direct. Oh my god, it's gonna be so awesome.
Oh, Josh Whedon. Yeah, he still has that shirt that says Josh Whedon is my master now. Yeah. No, I'm excited about it too, but I'm realistic. I'm like, man, this could be the biggest fuck up ever if they mess this up. So yeah, I'm excited, but I'm realistic. So it's not, in other words, if it ends up being like really, really bad, I'm not gonna be surprised or disappointed. But if it's really great, I'm like, hey, I was right there with you.
I have hope. I want it to be good. I really, really want it to be good. But for it to be good, it really requires a good director, and I don't have the faith in Joss that everyone else does.
See, I do. I mean, again, I don't know, because the only thing I know that he's directed for the theaters is Serenity, which was it was sprung off from Firefly, the TV show. And
yeah, which I love, but
I like it, but it still felt like a TV movie to me, really good TV movie. Yeah, there you go. So that's what got me worried about hearing his name. I agree with you completely. But yeah, man, well, I'm glad you agree with me on Robin Hood. I thought, like, you know what, if anybody's gonna like break this string right here and make me feel justified, and all these people who say how dare you talk about Robin Hood? Some people even came in and said this is the best Robin Hood movie ever. I'm like, no, that fucking Robin Hood with the animated Fox is the best Robin Hood movie. You get out of here with that.
You okay? See, now that
I love that movie, man. Come on, you can't.
I know you do, but come on, you're really gonna disrespect
Errol Flynn?
Errol Flynn?
No, of course not. No, that is the best Robin Hood out there, live action. If you're talking about best anime, no, you know what? Let me change that. Errol Flynn, 1938, The Adventures of Robin Hood. That is really the defining Robin Hood that we have. It has everything that you want in a Robin Hood movie. You got like a great Robin Hood character. You got a great villain in there. You got the sense of
Basil
adventure.
Rathbone,
Yeah. And then you got the great sense of adventure, which makes us love that movie. With this Robin Hood, they gave us like that's a mythical England forest that we see in that movie. We don't mind that. With this, we saw these people look like they were at a dirty Renaissance fair, and I'm like, you know what? You went a little bit too far with that. Give us a little bit of the spirit of the old Nottingham.
Yeah, and the direct, just the fact that they introduced the wild children, and then the wild children just kind of show up.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
And it's like, I know you filmed scenes that you're going to put in the director's cut, but seriously, that's not the kind of thing you can leave out. They had to be excised completely from this version of the film, or they needed to show us what the fuck that was all about, because that just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
But I tell you what, I do put the animated Robin Hood up there. I really love that movie.
The animated Robin Hood is great. I think it's really a fun version of that film.
But I'll agree with you. People, if you really think that this is a great Robin Hood movie, first of all, you're fucked up. And second of all, go and watch Errol Flynn's Robin Hood. Yeah, sure, he's in gray, green tights and all that kind of stuff, but it really does capture the spirit of Robin Hood that we know and love. So anyway, so you want to move on to some tweets and emails?
Well, before that...
Oh, I'm sorry. You got something else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I got something else.
Oh, please.
No, because you and I haven't talked about this yet.
Oh, shit. What is it?
I saw a movie early this week that I can do an early review for.
What is it?
I saw Get Him to the Greek.
Oh, how was that?
Funny as fucking hell, dude.
I'm looking forward to that so
It's
much, man.
hilarious. If you liked Forgetting Sarah Marshall, you're gonna dig this as well. It is that same kind of funny.
And it is the sequel to that, or kind of a spinoff.
No, it is a spin-off. It's
Yeah.
the same character, Alja Snow, and there are a few small little nods in this film to Forgetting Sarah Marshall that tell you that, yes, this is that universe, this is that Alja Snow, but this is a completely separate film. It works completely on its own, and it's really fucking funny.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
Is Jonah Hill playing the same character from?
No. Jonah Hill is playing a completely different character.
Now, see, that doesn't make sense to me.
It sure it does, because that character was too creepy to carry over to a feature film.
But everybody sees that it's the same actor.
It's the same actor, but really, trust me, the minute it gets on, you don't give a shit.
And I never saw Saving Sarah or Forgetting Sarah Marshall, so.
Oh, see, that's why you don't understand. Like, his character in Forgetting Sarah Marshall is this creepy, stalkery waiter guy who's just.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and he's funny, but he's funny because he's in small doses. Whereas here, the basic premise is Alja Snow has released the worst album of his career. It's a truly offensive, terrible album called African Child, which is considered the third worst thing to ever happen to Africa. And it's that humiliating album, and so he's lost his mojo to a certain extent. And at the same time, the record industry sucks because of
music.
Well, music and piracy and moving to a digital model and, the death of the mall culture, and just they're struggling, and so they need fresh ideas. And Jonah Hill plays a young record exec who's kind of like, hey, look, this is coming up next month is the 10th anniversary of Infant Sorrow live at the Greek Theater, which is the best-selling live album of all time. Wouldn't it be cool to do a reunion concert, bring everybody back 10 years later, and do the Greek again? And his manager, his boss, the chief executive, played by Sean Combs, P. Diddy.
How was he in this movie?
He's fucking hilarious, dude. He's fucking hilarious. I have never been a big Puff Daddy fan, never been a big Sean Combs fan. Dude is fucking hilarious in this movie. The thing is when you watch the trailer for this film,
which I'm looking at right now while you're talking about it. Really, it's on the TV. The TV's on. I'm like, wow, this is weird.
Watch the trailer and it's kind of like, it looks like it might be funny, but there's no jokes that really kill me in it. It's because everything in this movie is so R-rated that you can't put it in a trailer. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the gags are character-driven gags that you have to build over time. You can't show the Sean Combs mindfuck gag because you need to have the mindfuck gag set up and the build up for it, and it gets funnier and funnier through the movie
mindfuck is referring to a joke in the movie.
No. Yeah, in which Sean Combs is kind of teaching during various scenes Jonah Hill how to properly mindfuck somebody, and it's funny as hell. Essentially, so what happens is Jonah Hill ends up getting sent by Sean Combs to go pick up his hero, Alja Snow, and bring him to New York and then to L.A. to do some press and then be in the concert. And, of course, Alja Snow deals with young, sycophant pricks like this all the time and decides he's going to fuck with this kid. And so it's this rock star fucking with this guy trying to manage the rock star. And it's really, really funny.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It's one of the movies that I think is going to be that comedy that is one, a rated R comedy that is not trying to emphasize all the crude humor in it just to make a buck, kind of like MacGruber's doing. It's that movie that is like the Hangover, where it's like, hey, yeah, we're a crude movie. The rated R humor fits with this naturally, and that's why we have this rating. And I'm looking forward to this movie very much, man. So
I think you'll enjoy the hell out of it. I really have a feeling it's going to be that movie that all of us, but Leon, really enjoyed. Man, he hated Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I know. I never saw it, so I can't say anything. But
you know what? See it before you watch this. You don't have to see it in order to get this, but you'll enjoy it more. and I think it's good for you to go into because you'll want that comparison. And the few jokes that are in the movie that are throwbacks to Sarah Marshall are really fucking hilarious. So otherwise, you're going to see it and go, "What? Why is everybody else laughing?" And it's because you're the one guy who hasn't seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah. I'm almost afraid to because I don't want to persuade my opinion of Jonah Hill in this because you know me, I get literal as shit. I'm like, well, how is he playing two different characters when they look the same? And I mean, you know, that's just me. So I'll watch this first. And maybe it'll make me like what's her name? Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He want to say Saving Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall a little better. So.
But so I give it a full price.
Okay, good, man. Now you got me looking forward to it. That's not coming out for a while, though, right? Like a few weeks.
It comes out in June. Yeah,
June. Okay.
Like I think June 18th.
June 18th. All right.
So yeah,
gotcha.
about a month from now.
All right.
All right. So let's go to some tweets and round this up. Here's a really interesting one that, as far as real questions go, it's not a great real question, but there are I'm just going to get to it.
Yeah.
Rather than explaining it, the Harry Adams asks, "Why don't you guys review Alex Jones films?" Now you know what I'm talking about. Because see, here's the thing: is why don't we review his films? Well, they're not theatrically released, they're like the video stuff, yada yada. But we have some stories.
Did you hear this? Somebody sent in. So Carlisle gets tweets, right? He takes Twitter questions. And somebody tweeted him and asked, "Why don't we review Alex Jones movies?" You know who Alex Jones is? You did work with Alex Jones once? Yeah. Okay. We're doing what? Karaoke?
No, when I was working at the radio station.
Oh, that's right. Man, yeah, you're right, Carlisle. These movies aren't theatrically released. We don't get them. I mean, they're not, and they don't, I don't know. They just don't, they're not the kind of movies which really, I don't think, the majority of our audience, no respect to, no disrespect. Yeah, they're not narratives. Well, I won't even say that because
they're agenda-driven documentaries. They're documentaries that come from a certain perspective, Alex's, that have a certain perspective on politics, and that's not the type of stuff we tend to cover, especially if it's not theatrically released.
Yeah, we review everything, so I'm not even holding against it that it's not a narrative because I love we review anything really if we have the time. There was a time when Leon and I. This is what I loved about our days on the Access show. There was, and this is a time when movies were being released in theaters all the time because there was not this distribution mode that we have right now of online or Netflix or streaming or any of that. A lot of movies got theatrical release because that's all they could get, and we would see so many different kind of movies, and a lot of movies we would see would be these weird documentaries that would just come out of nowhere, and we would talk about them gladly. And I could see if there was a time when Alex Jones, if he ever released that documentary that at that time, well, no, that was theatrically released, and he hit big time and whatnot, and we were like asked to go see it, we would do that. But a lot of these movies that Alex Jones releases, as you say, they're first of all, they're very, very, when you talk about independent, they're about as independent as you can get. Alex Jones is really behind releasing these movies himself. I mean, they're very grassroots. So, yeah, he does. He goes out and films stuff himself. He edits probably a lot of this stuff himself. I mean, he's pretty much Alex Jones, the business. Now, and they have a very specific audience, too. And it's not like a wide audience, especially not our audience. I mean, so yeah, there's no way that there's a marketing company that's coming to us and saying, "Hey, we have this movie that's going to get sort of this good distribution. Can you review it?" We don't have that with him because his movies are not that. They don't have that distribution model, and they're not meant to be reviewed. They're meant to persuade you to his opinion. So,
but oddly enough, speaking of our days at Access, when we used to record our weekly show, it was in the studio immediately after Alex Jones recorded his show.
Oh, yeah. And Alex Jones...
We used to hang out and chat with him all the time between setting up.
Oh, yeah.
I even had one week where he was in a really piss-poor mood, and he backed me into a corner and was doing the fiery speech, pointy finger. I have a scary Alex Jones story.
See, I never have that. I've always seen... people.
I love Alex too. He's a really great, brilliant guy. He's really interesting to talk to. And I just cut him on the wrong day where I said the wrong thing offhand.
Oh, Jesus.
and he literally
You've done that with everybody though at one point.
Usually, but usually I have, but I usually don't get the Alex Jones special, and that was so awesome because I got to truly experience Alex in all his glory. Because when he's going at, I mean, if you've ever seen an Alex Jones video where he's yelling at the screen and pointing his finger, imagine being 3 inches from that finger, and you know what Carlisle has experienced, and it's kind of awesome.
And see, I've always had that experience with Alex Jones, always, where he's always been the soft-spoken, almost
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, family man type Alex Jones. I run into him in public. He's come and hung out with me and my brother. Alex Jones, I've seen like nothing but the gentle side of Alex Jones or the geeky side, because we never talk politics. I mean,
way to name drop Corey. Oh, he comes and hangs out with me and my
brother.
No,
he was like, he went. There was one night where we all were at this restaurant, and my brother was there, and my brother is crazy. All right, I was like, these two guys, they're gonna get together and like lose it. It's just gonna be. I was nervous, and those guys got together, and they were just having the nicest conversation. And Alex Jones, he's a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So most of the times when he saw us setting up for the movie show, especially when it was just me, before any of you guys came on, I was always doing this by myself, and he would be there before me, and he'd always just ask me about Star Wars, and we never talked any kind of politics or anything. I was like, man, you're the biggest fucking dork. You ain't no real goddamn rebel. What the you fool all these people out there? But no, that was a good question, man. He's a cool guy, but yeah, I hope we answered why we don't do that. No, we don't go out and like review like agenda films, okay?
I mean,
especially those that are like grassroots produced.
And we don't even really cover some of the bigger ones. I mean, there was a large documentary that came out just last week, which is quite good, by the way, that we didn't cover.
What, the Banksy one?
No. I mean, no, that's out. That's really awesome. If you have a chance to see Exit Through the Gift Shop, see Exit Through the Gift Shop. That is probably going to be the documentary of the year. It's really incredible. But Casino Jack, the Jack Abramoff story.
Oh, yeah, no,
which is really good. It's done by the guy who did Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room, and what was the other one he did? He did another really good one that was an expose on real guys. But it's a really good documentary on Jack Abramoff, and will show you once again that no matter what political side you're on, you're angry about the wrong thing. That here's this guy that got in trouble but has kind of slipped through the cracks, that did the things that we really should be cleaning up in government. And
here's another interesting thing here. Yeah, no, here's another interesting thing about these documentaries that are coming out now. I mean, besides us being so busy and having our hands full with doing the reviews that we're doing already, and these movies that you see, these documentaries that you're talking about, they come out really quick and then they disappear not disappear, but they come out, if they are going to a theater, they're either, one, in a theater very quickly, or two, they get simultaneous distribution. You can watch them on video on demand, or in the case of a documentary I saw recently that showed at South by Southwest, it was just at South by Southwest, and a couple of nights ago it showed on PBS, and that was the Jim Morrison Doors documentary, When You're Strange. And that was just in South by Southwest. It's already on PBS. So a lot of this stuff is available to people very quickly. And that's why we probably don't jump on that so quickly either. And we don't get invited to as many. Some of these were given to like the big marketing companies, and they would call us up and say, hey, can you go see this movie? A lot of them really have like this very, very independent distribution company that's putting them out there. And we don't get sometimes invited by those people because they don't call us. It's just that limited. I mean, they're very small. So yeah, there you go. There's a ton of reasons why, but there's a handful right there.
So go ahead and pull out your question for the week, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay. This person, Virgil, says, after watching movie after movie, I have to say that Common, and he spells Common C-O-M-M-E-N, could be a typo. I'm not going to correct the guy, has become one of my favorite black actors. I believe he chooses good roles for himself.
We like to call them blacktors.
Call them just save some syllables there or some letters. Blacktors. The Blacktors Studio. Yo, what's up, man? So, do you feel the same way? And where do you see Common's career in films going? Do you think he can make it starring in a major role in the film? Well, he just did. He just got his first leading man role in Just Right. But when I saw Common, I always thought that Common, I was like, this guy can act. I mean, I don't know to what extent because he's got some smaller roles right now, but in limited dialogue. But I was thinking Common's got what it takes to be on screen. I mean, it's obvious that this guy has a presence. The only thing that I don't want to say didn't like, that just confused me about Common at first, and I mentioned this in a review once, is that he was sort of a positive rapper at one time. The one, we went to UT and saw him there. Yeah, he saw him at UT performing for some frat that invited him, and he's always looking so happy. He's breakdancing, and he had that song, "There's a time when you need someone, I will be by your side," and all that kind of shit. And it's like, oh, this guy's so nice. And then you see him in these movies. Like, one of the first movies where he scared me was Street Kings, where he was like, "Yo, man, if we can't fuck it or kill it, we don't want it. We straight up nightmares." And I was like, that's not the Common I remember. Who is this dark Common? And I thought, like, well, okay, the guy wants to be an actor, and he's just taking whatever roles that he wants to. And it's been an adjustment for me to have to see him play these dark roles. He did one in Wanted, and recently he played sort of like a crooked cop in Date Night. So I understand where he's coming from. He's just taking any kind of movie roles he can, and I had to, like, really shake that whole nice guy Common thing to really accept him. But yeah, I think he's got it. What do you think?
I think if he's your favorite working black actor, I want to know what crazy ass fucking bus accident killed Sam Jackson and Don Cheadle and Keith David and
okay, let me correct you here. He did not say he's my favorite. He said he has been one of my favorite black actors.
Okay, all right, okay. Common hasn't done anything for me yet. I haven't been impressed by him. Haven't particularly cared for him. I think he's been a fine backup guy. I think he does. He's done some solid work, but he hasn't done anything to really impress me yet. Nothing. Do I think he's got it? Who knows? But he hasn't won me over enough to where every time I see him, I'm like, oh, hey, cool, it's Common. I can't wait to see what he does. No, nothing like that at all.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm right there with you on some level where, because I just said I haven't seen him like do anything that really has, and I didn't see Just Right, where he's playing a leading guy. I haven't seen him with any extended dialogue or screen time, but from what I've seen, I've been like, he shows potential. So hopefully he'll get to that point where he can impress everybody. He can be the next Denzel Jackson, Sam Whitaker, whatever you want to call him. So, anyway, man, I tell you what, we got to move on to our next show. So you want to say good night to everybody?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Wait a minute, what?
I have to say something. I just have to say hi to Surfer, because I had to do that because he was always so nice to me when I was on the site. So.
Get out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.